scene is tense. Rain drizzles over a muddy Kuresoi field as President William Ruto's helicopter prepares to take off. The crowd watches closely, some cheering, some filming. Then the chopper tilts. It struggles to lift, blades whipping mud into the air. A voice shouts from the background, "Anguka, Anguka na Wewe. Fall down with him." The sound cuts through the wind like a warning and a wish at the same time. Moments later, the chopper steadies and climbs. But that shout, that moment, becomes the story that Kenya couldn't stop talking about. It was October 27th, 2025. President William Ruto was in Kuresoi, Nakuru County, for what was meant to be a straightforward development and political tour. He had just commissioned the Kiambiriria Kuresoi Chepsir Road, a 12-kilometer tarmacked project under the Kenya Urban Roads Authority. He then addressed a rally at Kuresoi Trading Center, defending his record on infrastructure, youth jobs, and the affordable housing program, the same pillars of his Kenya Kwanza agenda. Flanked by Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika and local MP Kipkurui Langat, Ruto also took aim at the opposition, accusing them of misleading Kenyans and inciting unrest.
Munajua vile tulisema ya kwamba hii barabara ya kutoka Kiambiriria ikuje hapa iende Kuresoi iende mpaka Chepsir. Si namna hiyo?
It was vintage Ruto, confident, combative, and connecting with the crowd until the ground literally gave him trouble. The visit was part of Ruto's relentless development tours, meant to reclaim control of the national narrative amid rising discontent. Kuresoi, a predominantly Kalenjin community, had stood firmly behind him in 2022, but 3 years later, the mood has shifted. Kenya is wary. Economic pain and unemployment among many have turned even friendly turf into testing ground. The president needed to project calm, control, and progress, and what he got instead was a viral crisis. When Ruto boarded his helicopter to leave, the weather had worsened. The field was drenched, soggy, and uneven. As the pilot powered up, the chopper lifted slightly, then sank back, tilted, and fought against the mud and wind. Eyewitness videos captured it hovering dangerously close to the ground, blades flinging debris over the cheering and worried crowd. For several seconds, it looked like the aircraft might fail to gain momentum. Then, with a roar and a sharp tilt, it steadied and rose into the grey sky. No injuries were reported. But by the time the rotors faded, the video had already found its way online. Kenyans on X didn't hold back. Some saw it as pure recklessness, a big blunder flying in that weather, big risk, one post read. Others as divine justice, the gods are against Ruto by all means. And then came the humor, sharp, witty, cutting. Even the chopper has no momentum, someone joked, twisting the aviation term into a political metaphor. Another post mocked the economy is trying to lift off like Ruto's chopper, but it's still stuck in the mud. It was the perfect storm of Kenyan wit, where laughter masks frustration and memes speak louder than manifestos. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Kuresoi, once Ruto's solid home ground, had become the stage for a moment that symbolized vulnerability. The crowd voice shouting, "Anguka na Wewe," summed up the new political tension. Even among former supporters, patience is thinning. It wasn't a rebellion, but it was a reflection of how quickly admiration can turn to anxiety when reality hits hard. In Kenyan politics, perception is everything, and this one image Ruto's chopper fighting for liftoff said what speeches couldn't. The Kuresoi scare also revived concerns about aviation safety around top officials. Ruto's chopper scare was followed by a Mombasa Air Cessna 208 Caravan 5Y operating a flight RRV-203 from Diani airstrip to Kichwa Tembo in the Masai Mara that crashed shortly after takeoff in the remote Simba Hills area of Kwale County at 5:30 in the morning on October 28, 2025, killing all 12 on board with no survivors. The single-engine aircraft carrying tourists and crew on a popular safari route went down in dense forested terrain, prompting an immediate response from the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, Kenya Defence Forces and local emergency teams. KCAA Director General Emil Arao confirmed the total loss of life and stated that a full investigation into the cause is underway as recovery operations continue at the challenging crash site. It came barely a year after an overloaded chopper in Lodwar nearly failed to clear takeoff during a 2024 tour, and just 2 years after the tragic 2023 crash that killed General Francis Ogola, the Chief of Defence Forces. For critics, these patterns point to a systemic carelessness, from poor weather assessments to risky field operations. The presidency, they argue, should be the safest part of the country, yet somehow the skies keep sending warnings. By nightfall, the Kuresoi video had become Kenya's newest political mirror, reflecting not just Chopper's struggle, but a country's mood. Floods, hardship, and fatigue have made citizens more alert, more critical, and more expressive. Even the smallest moment, a tilt in the air, becomes political currency. And for a president whose slogan is the hustler nation, irony couldn't be sharper. Even power itself seemed to struggle through the mud. In the end, the chopper took off, but the symbolism stayed grounded. Kenya saw more than a flight. It saw a metaphor. A presidency trying to lift off amid storms, but natural and political. And as the country continues to wrestle with fading trust, one question hovers in the air. Can Ruto regain his momentum, or has Kenya already seen the height of his flight? Drop your comments. Newsroom, Maisha TV, Ushabi Jr.